Hey guys, Zangetsu 134 here, bringing you another vlog. This time, My Hero Academia, uh, season 3, episode 21. Yeah, episode 21, I think. Oh, this is really embarrassing. I cannot remember. Yeah, episode 21, season 3, episode 21. I had to look that up just now. I have a tab where I saved that where I watched the show online. I do support the official release, however, I do. I own the DVDs and the manga. I do support the official release, however I can. And I have something that might be happening. I'm not saying yet because I haven't ironed the details out yet, but I do think I have a way that I'll be supporting the My Hero Academia official release, as it were. But anyway, we're talking about episode 21, Inasa versus Todoroki. I think that's his name, right? Inasa? Yeah, I think his name is Inasa. The Wind Dude. He's, his name is Inasa Yodorashi, which I'm sure means cyclone or something like that, since every single character in this show's name means something about them, like Mina Ashido, acid, Siyuasu, or Dabi's name meaning creation, that sort of thing. Anyway, so in this episode we get where we left off in episode 19, since episode 20 was filler slash a tie-in to the movie. This episode being the beginning of being the wrap up of the final exam, more or less. This, of course, being and I apologize, that was my messenger, which I'm going to mute. That's my work messenger. But anyway, sorry about that. But yeah, it's pretty much the wrap up of the provincial hero license exam. This, of course, being the fight between Inasa, Todoroki, and Midoriya, and the kid who looks like Midoriya, that's with the earthquake, whose name I can't remember, versus Gang Orca. For those of you who don't remember Gang Orca, he did appear briefly during the hero raid, before the fight with All For One. Gang Orca is the number 10 hero. He's also the number 3 most hero that most looks like a villain, which seems kind of rude to me in this society. Like, in my opinion, if you're a hero, you're a hero. It doesn't matter how you look. I mean, like, that would be like saying, like, if you saw Tokoyami and his quirk Dark Shadow and said that he was rather villainous, even though Tokoyami clearly, wants to be a hero. Which I don't think we've ever gotten an origin for Tokoyami. Like an origin episode where we see how exactly he decided to be a hero, why he uses Dark Shadow, why despite being really dark and emo, he's, he's the hero that, or he wants to be a hero. But anyway, so, yeah, we get Gang Orca and his sidekicks. Fun fact, if for those of you who don't read the manga, all of those guys that were working with Gang Orca were in fact his sidekicks. They normally all have their own costumes, but for this exercise, they're wearing special costumes that make them look like henchmen for a villain, which I thought was pretty cool. Yeah, so him and his henchmen basically attack again after the first terrorist bombing. That basically the terrorist decides to cause more damage and mayhem by attacking the injured civilians that the heroes are trying to rescue. And we actually get to see some pretty good moments with Midoriya. First off, that he helps rescue as many of the people as he can, and then he tries to help with the earthquake dude to deal with Gang Orca and his cronies. We see more of Gang Orca's abilities, particularly his strength and power, as well as his, what I argue is more of his quirk than being just an orca. But to be fair, his quirk is technically orcaism, where basically he has the same powers as a killer whale. he can swim underwater. He can breathe underwater. Well, okay, whales don't breathe underwater, but he hold his breath very long time. He can expel water out of a blowhole. And just all around has whale abilities. His most powerful ability, however, is clearly his sonar attack, which allows him to use it as a sonar to like guide places, but he can also amplify it to the point where it'll actually cause a paralyzing effect. The closer you are to him, the more it affects you. In fact, the earthquake dude, whose name I cannot remember because they only were just introduced and they've really, I don't think, shown up again. So forgive me if I have to once again stop talking to remember what his name is. Because he's not a Shoot Attack Academy character. And I'm sure Mrs. Joke will be probably more of a role just because she and Aizawa know each other. What is his name? And of course I'm on the wiki, and instead of giving me the names, Shindo, that's his name, which I think means vibrate or shake. He uses it against Yo and Todoroki and Inasa to paralyze them. Yo actually gets up first just because, which I actually like, and it makes a lot of sense because his quirk is vibrations, where he constantly generates vibrations. That's how he creates earthquakes. But if he does it too long, it causes him to actually, like, his body to go numb, and he does get something of a paralysis effect. So he's actually able to, because of his constant training, he's able to overcome the effects of it much faster, which I thought was really cool. And him and Midoriya actually work together much faster, which I actually thought was really cool. Him and Midoriya actually work together much faster, especially because like they kind of imply that like, them having a rivalry, like Kotsubetsu and UA, just because of the UA Crush thing, and he wanted to take them out first, just prove that they're better than UA, and Midoriya was able to prevent that thanks to his quick thinking and the fact that he can inspire the others to act, which I thought was really cool. But it shows how he's willing to work together with Midoriya in spite of the fact that he could have lost fighting Midoriya in the first round. That they realize, like, him and Midoriya work together much better than, who are technically like the two best students in the exam, that of Todoroki and Inasa, and this of course being where we get Inasa's whole reason for hating Todoroki and really by proxy Endeavor. I almost said All Might, not Endeavor. Because really no one really hates All Might except for villains in Endeavor. And I really like that. I like that it shows that, just because Todoroki has tried to move on from his hatred of his father and the way he acted because of it, there's still repercussions of that. Like, for example, Inasa didn't go into UA because he couldn't accept that Todoroki was going to be in the same class as him when he doesn't really act like what he believes as a hero should be. Whereas Inasa believes that heroism, you really should be all about, the enthusiasm and the drive to protect people and such. And that shows in his way of doing things and how he doesn't really agree with the way Todoroki acts. And Todoroki, of course, is trying to prove that he's not his father and that he's grown even in like the few months that he started UA, and a lot of that, of course, has to do with Midoriya. We also get probably one of my favorite moments from Midoriya in this, when he actually rescues he rescues Yo from being injured by Todoroki and Inasa's quirks going out of control because of them getting paralyzed. Actually basically fighting each other instead of fighting Gang Orca. Basically, Inasa's winds keep causing the Todoroki's flames to not go the right way because they're not working together. Because to be fair, if they work together, Todoroki's flames would be much more powerful than even he could do with the amount of power he has. because he could feed the oxygen into the flames to make them grow hotter and faster, but they're not doing that. And so Midoriya gets him out of the way, and he says, what are you guys doing? And I really love that moment just because like Midoriya, I think more than anyone gets this test just because it's like, yes, we are working against each other, but at the same time, this is the rescue portion now, and we have to learn to work with people we don't either know very well or do not like. You guys cannot be arguing with each other when you're trying to rescue people. It's more or less like how I believe, like, if All Might was still active, like if All Might and Aizawa were the first on the response, while Aizawa may not like All Might, he would work with All Might. Like, the two of them may not agree with things or like each other as much as normally, but if push comes to shove, they would work together. Heck, I think Aizawa and Present Mike have that kind of a friendship too. Or but that doesn't happen. And of course, Gang Orca shows how strong he is, while Midoriya and Yo deal with his sidekicks, who are using guns that shoot quick drying cement to immobilize people. Like Todoroki gets immobilized before he gets like a direct blast of Gang Orca's sonar, as well as Inasa. And though the two realize, and so at that moment where the two work together, and I really like that scene, especially because it shows how good the two are. Because like Inasa only really loses slight control of his winds without his limbs. It's kind of implied that he has to use his limbs to get better control of his winds. He can control it without moving his body, but it's a lot more refined by him using his hands and limbs to move the wind instead of like using his mind or something else. Facebook, do you mind? Do you mind, Facebook? I'm trying to do something here. Sheesh. But what was I going? Where was I going with this? Oh yeah. So we get more of we see Todoroki's skills as well. He still can't simultaneously use fire and ice at the same time, but he can do them together slightly better when he doesn't have to worry about controlling his body. Basically, like moving his body as well as using his quirk takes a little bit more effort than just like generating his quirk. And to be fair, like we have technically seen him use both at the same time. It's just he can't, I think, attack with them at the same time. Like he could like use his flames, but at the same time if he's attacking with his flames and someone comes at him, he has to stop the flames to defend himself. Basically, there's a bit too much. He has to telegraph, basically. And that's not a good thing when you're in a battle. Like, you shouldn't really telegraph your moves. But he's getting better. And so, like, he uses ice to protect himself and Inasa from cement. And then they use their wind and fire powers together to create a fire tornado to keep Gang Orca in place. So that he'll dry out, which is one of Gang Orca's weaknesses, is like a whale. If he dries out, he's weakened. I think because he's a human, he won't die or anything, but like he's stronger when he's wet, basically. Like basically allows him to move faster. It's like the fishmen pirates in One Piece, how like their bodies need to be moistened for them to use their abilities much better. Like how like some of their fishermen karate requires them to be moist so that they can generate water for their attacks, like Arlong's water bullets, Jinbei's vagabond drill. But like basically they he needs water to keep himself going. And it looks like he's done, but then he just grabs like a bottle of water. I guess basically he has canisters of water on him so that he can constantly keep himself moist. and then he generates a sound wave that actually nullifies the effects of the fire and the wind. And just when things seem lost, Midoriya comes in and hits him with shoot style and actually damages his arm gauntlet. I actually really like that moment because the test ends right there, and you're not sure how long the fight would have went on. And I actually really like that because Gang Orca's sidekicks felt bad that they stopped him, but they also say like, Gang Orca probably would have had it, and Gang Orca's like, I don't know. The two of them had actually dried me out pretty thoroughly, even with the water. Midoriya at that point probably would have given me quite a struggle. I actually really like that because it implies that Midoriya like really probably would have given Gang Orca a run for his money. I doubt he would have beat Gang Orca, but I think he definitely could have changed the events if possible, or if nothing else, he would have, like, the fight was Stain, he could have stalled him long enough for the two of them to get over the paralysis, or even have Shindo back him up once he took care of all the small fries. And it also helped that Midori at that point actually got everyone to, like, everyone saw what that he was doing to protect the others, to protect the civilians, and they all come in and help work together to defeat Gang Orca's thugs. Oh! Almost forgot. And it's during the fight with the small fry that we actually get to see Siu use her camouflage ability that she developed over the events of the training they did before, from both the training camp and their training up to getting their new super moves in lead up to the provincial hero license exam. She's trained her frog abilities to the point where she can actually camouflage herself. I believe there are certain types of frogs that can camouflage themselves. I don't know if it's like how chameleons do it, because Siu's camouflage ability is more like something you'd see in a chameleon, but where like they clearly change colors. I think most frogs usually I don't know if they change colors like that. Maybe they do. Well, I mean, to be fair, quirks are weird like that. They just do kind of whatever they want as long as they fit into the theme you have. But yeah, in general, I really like this episode. I like where it ends. I'm looking forward to the next episode because we get more side story stuff, particularly the chapter in which I believe this is where we're getting the chapter in which we see All Might talking to All For One, which makes sense to me because that's when after he talks to All For One, he gets a text from Midoriya, and Midoriya, shows him that spoilers if you're not caught up with the manga, but I figure you are. Midoriya gets his provincial hero license exam, his hero license. And I really like that. It's one of my favorite parts of the exam. I like that Midoriya gets his. But I'll save that for tomorrow or the next week when we watch that episode. And we see how they work together, or how the tests go out. But in general, I think this is a good episode. I really think it's better than the filler episode because it's not filler. But I think both it and 19 are really good. If you skip 20, I don't blame you if you just want to get to the part with Gang Orca, because Gang Orca is really cool and I really like his fight. I like the fight. It's interesting, and I like that it shows how like heroes need to learn to work with all numbers of people, because you're not always going to be able to work with people you like. You may not even be able to work with people you know, and you got to learn how to deal with that in a crisis situation. And I really like how these tests do that. But in general, guys, I think that's going to be it for My Hero Academia this week. Tomorrow, I'm going to do my vlog on Kamen Rider Zio. I know I've been waiting a long time. I do apologize for that. I kind of want to take breaks in between my vlogs so I don't have them like da-da-da-da-da. And I'm trying to work on that. Like I said, I'm probably going to go to just Kamen Rider vlogs once this season of My Hero Academia is done. Nothing against My Hero Academia. I just want to kind of take a break. And I don't really have any other animes that I'm really interested in watching during this. I'll still do movies and stuff, but I really don't want to do like two series back to back, because I've enjoyed this. Like, if you've noticed, I've had to like do double episodes a lot more than I did when I was just doing Garo or Kamen Rider on its own. Um, I've thought about watching Sentai and maybe doing a vlog where I talk about like the set Pot versus Pat Ranger, um, and Kamen Rider, but I just don't have that kind of time. But like I said, I will try to do movies when they come out. Um, if I'm interested. If not, I'm probably not going to watch it. I don't have the money or the time off to do that sort of thing. Um, but in general, guys, I hope you guys stick around. And I love doing these vlogs. It's just I need to take breaks in between, or else I get burnt out. But anyways, guys, I'm Zangetsu 134. I hope you enjoyed this vlog, and I will catch you next time. Until then, take care.